At the time, being a college kid, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just flying by the seat of my pants, trying to figure things out as they went. Why not strike while the iron's hot? And that was email and SMS, because we had clients stay on the longest for email and SMS, and we also had the best results and the best case studies with email and SMS. And since then, we've just been diving deeper into how to get results faster and provide higher quality service for our clients. I haven't looked back since. And funny enough, when you focus on one thing, you do it really well, and you're able to charge people way more because you can diagnose the issue a lot quicker, bring results quicker, and do it at a higher quality clip than what you were able to do before.
This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Ninja Prospecting, the outreach team that makes cold connections feel warm and real. If you're tired of spammy DMs and the generic LinkedIn messages that go nowhere, Ninja Prospecting flips the script. They help coaches, consultants, and service-based business owners spark real conversations through strategic, human-first outreach. No bots, no fluff, just honest, data-backed messaging that sounds like you and actually gets replies. Talk to my friend Adam Packard and his team. Whether you want to do it yourself, get guidance, or fully hand it off, they've got you covered. Head over to ninjaprospecting.com and schedule a chat with Adam. Be sure to mention you heard about it right here on the Business Superfans podcast. If you're ready to get started, join their free community at school, SKOOL.com/ninja-prospecting-7704 to maximize your connections and make the right new ones.
But I am the world's biggest super fan.
You're like a super fan.
Welcome to the Business Superfans podcast. We will discuss how establishing business superfans from customers, employees, and business partners can elevate your success exponentially. Learn why these advocates are a key factor to achieving excellence in the world of commerce. We discuss the invaluable insights of business owners who have successfully implemented the strategies in the book to build their own team of devoted superfans. Gain insightful knowledge from the experts who create applications that help you create passionate superfans. This is the Business Superfans podcast with your host, Freddie D.
Ready!
Hey, Superfans, Superstar, Freddie D here. In this episode 142, we're joined by Nikita Vakhrushev, a digital marketing expert who spent the last 7 years helping brands grow and thrive. After launching his own e-com brand and shifting into the agency space, Nikita found his true niche in e-commerce advertising with a special focus on email and SMS marketing. Having worked with over 100 DTC brands, he brings a wealth of experience across every marketing channel, but email has become his bread and butter. With his unique perspective on maximizing retention, Nikita knows exactly how to help brands get the most out of their customer relationships. Get ready for an insightful conversation on email engagement. Welcome, Nikita, to the Business Superfans podcast. Excited to get into talking about customer retention, and you and I had a little bit of a good conversation before we started recording. We both have a little Chicago background in us, so great to have you on the show.
Appreciate you, Freddie. I'm excited to talk about retention, how to build your own super fans, and everything in between.
Excellent. So let's go back to the beginning. What's your backstory of how did you come up with your organization, which I believe I pronounce it correct, is Aspect, right?
Yeah, it's just Aspect with a backwards K for making it a little bit unique. Yeah. Aspect originally started as actually RPM Media Inc., and then it transitioned into Aspect in 2019, 2020. But essentially, it all started with me doing print-on-demand dropshipping. I would upload designs to a third-party logistics provider, and they would do the printing and the manufacturing of the product for me as the orders would come in. So once I would get an order, I'd get the $25 or $30 they paid for a t-shirt, send it over to the partner, they would print it and ship it directly to the customer. So all I had to do is upload the designs. In this process, I had to learn all the different marketing channels to run it like an actual business. At the time, being a college kid, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just flying by the seat of my pants, trying to figure things out as they went. But eventually I landed on learning how to run Facebook ads, how to do email marketing, how to run Google ads, how to set up a website, and all the basic necessities you would need to run a marketing department within your business, or basically being like a one-man marketing show. And transitioning out of that print on demand and drop shipping store, because there was a lot of competition now. There was a big craze during that time of you can drop ship anything in the world. So with more competition, I decided to transition into agency, mainly because I had a lot of people in my close circle, friends, family, acquaintances, and whatnot, asking me for help on how to transition their business or any of their passion projects on the digital side, whether it's setting up a website or setting up Facebook ads or how to send out an email to a customer base. So I would help them out. And eventually I got enough demand to the point where I started charging for my services. You can only do so many favors before this is taking me.
Yeah.
It's taking me 2 hours to set this up for you. I got to get compensated somehow. And that organically grew to me then taking on a client base. Eventually towards 2019 and 2020, I started to take on more corporate accounts and more established businesses doing anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million plus per year in revenue. That's when I realized, okay, we need a little bit more of a professional name and pick an industry. So I picked e-commerce because in 2020, we didn't know what's going to happen, whether it's going to be a forever thing or if it was going to blow over. Luckily, it blowed over. But there was a lot of businesses going into the e-commerce space. Why not strike while the iron's hot? So just purely focused on e-com. And since then, evolved our services. I hired on a team. And around 2021, 2022 is when that team has started to experience burnout from just getting overstimulated and a lack of clarity on what we actually do, because we had all these different services and all these different clients that had different needs. And simply enough, we didn't have enough manpower to handle the different services that we provided. Maybe if I had a limited amount of clients, but we didn't. So we had to pivot into one specific niche, and that was email and SMS, because we had clients stay on the longest for email and SMS, and we also had the best results and the best case studies with email and SMS. And since then, we've just been diving deeper into how to get results faster and provide higher quality service for our clients. I haven't looked back since.
Wow, what a story. Engaging. So you guys really basically, I'm familiar with all the print on demand kind of stuff. And that's where you get your feet wet into that whole e-commerce world. And you pivoted at the right point to say, okay, how can I maximize this for other people and for their e-commerce? And so you've really created a unique niche for yourself on focusing. And so you're not jack of all trades. You're really basically a specialist in communications and focusing on two platforms, which is email and text messaging.
Yeah, exactly. It was a difficult decision to make in that time because it's okay, cool. I have to now say no to money. I think it was the first time I had to do that, was like saying no to like new clients coming in, asking us for Facebook ads. But afterwards, it felt like a weight lifted being off my shoulders because I can just focus on this thing, doing it well. And funny enough, when you focus on one thing, you do it really well and you're able to charge people way more because you can diagnose the issue a lot quicker, bring results quicker, and do it at a higher quality clip than what you were able to do before.
Yeah, look at the medical industry. You get the regular family doctor, and then you go to the specialist of the specialists, and same thing. The niche gets narrower, but the price point right up. But then also the quality of doctor that you get is much higher than the regular MD. Now, not putting everybody down, but it's just they specialize into something. So that's what you've done. You've gone into becoming a specialist in this aspect.
The funny part to me is like, even on the client side, they can tell the difference because for them, if a brand has been around for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, they've experienced all different kinds of agencies, whether it's freelancers, boutiques, or all-in-one agencies. And they tend to gravitate towards us because they've worked with those all-in-one agencies where they had them handle like their conversion rate, their website, their Facebook, their Google, their email. And they realize like, yeah, these agencies may have a core competency in, let's say, paid advertising, but when they were taking over the email side, like they were getting results, but it wasn't as high as they could be with a specialist. And that's when they seek us out and they're like, yeah, we just need one specific team that only does this thing to help with getting results for email and SMS.
Oh, sure. When I was managing a company a few years ago, that was a family member to one of the people that worked there that was doing the website. I've got some experience in that space, and I looked at it and said, this isn't going to work. And we got into a battle because it was political. There was politics involved. But we did switch the agency, and they specialized in a lot of different things, but I really just utilized them for one thing, which was their strength was web development. And we ended up going through 2 iterations of redoing their website. They didn't do any of the marketing for us from Facebook or any of that stuff because even though they said they could do it, they didn't really, I wasn't sold on their capabilities. So I'm just really emphasizing the specialty aspect of it because they were really strong in the web development. And yes, we can do all these other things, but it wasn't that strong.
Yeah, it really just goes to show like when you want something done right, you just look for someone to do it. You're not going to go to a general contractor to fix your plumbing. You're going to go to a plumber.
Correct. So talk about what really differentiates Aspect from other platforms out there.
We're not necessarily a platform, we're an agency. So we are a people business, and our main service is creating the design, the copy, the strategy, the setup, deliverability, testing, everything that has to do with running an email channel successfully. We do use platforms like Klaviyo, OmniSend, SendLane, ActiveCampaign, some of the bigger ones that you upload your email database, and most brands, like either brand managers or CEOs, they're like, okay, I have this set up, but I have no idea what I'm doing. And then they come to us. And the biggest differentiator for us is the speed and the quality at which we operate. Most agencies, especially in the email space, they have everything siloed off. So they would have an email designer, they would have an email copywriter, an email strategist, and an email setup person. So you have 4 different people, and whichever client you have working with you gets a lot of hands touch that project. I thought you needed to have in order to set up a successful agency, but I realized you may not necessarily need that. So this is where, kind of diving deeper into one specialty, you start to realize different ways that you can operate the agency in a way that's most advantageous to you. For us, we actually have it flipped inversely, where we have one person that's core competency is design, because that is the biggest thing on the e-com side, is having really sharp, good designs that are on brand and that convert. So we hire great designers and we educate them on the rest of the process that goes into email. We teach them on how to do the setup. We teach them on how to write copy properly. And I've noticed that when we have one person handle all 3 aspects, the turnaround time is a lot quicker because you don't have to wait for the copywriter or you don't have to wait for the setup person. And the troubleshooting is significantly quicker. If there is a problem, they're like, sure, let me go ahead and update this. Here's the review file. Or if there's an issue, they can quickly go into the account. And even if the team lead isn't there, they can troubleshoot it a lot easier. But if a designer had that same issue come to them, they're like, I don't even know how to use this platform. I just know how to design. I think has set us apart because we handle a lot less clients per person, but the people are way smarter and way more trained up to handle the task.
I appreciate that clarification because that is a unique approach that you guys are applying. A lot of agencies have specialists for this and specialists for that. So you're collapsing all that into one person, which then really shortcuts the whole process. That person also is the main communication individual to the customer, so nothing gets diluted in that conversation.
They're not the main communicator. We have it set up like a pod. So we have a lead strategist who is the main communicator, and her name is Laura. She's great. She knows everything and anything about the platform and how to educate the rest of the team on how to set up the designs properly, how to do the copywriting, how to do the setup, etc. And then below her are 2 designers, and these designers know how to do the writing, the setup, the design process. So the lead communicator, they're all working tangentially together. But the main thing I wanted to highlight is, in the traditional sense where you would have these 3 separate roles, they would be handling anywhere between 15 to 30 clients each. So a designer is handling 15 to 30 clients, a copywriter is handling 50 to 30 clients, and so on and so forth. Whereas for us, each designer is only handling 5 clients. So they're able to give so much more attention across the board to each and every client that they see a way higher customer experience, but also they see way better results because of the turnaround time.
Yeah, I was thinking a little bit differently, but thanks for clearing that up because that makes sense. And what you're doing is you're really maximizing quality over quantity.
Exactly. Yeah.
And when you're delivering quality, then the results are going to be much higher for your customer.
I would prefer to have less clients, but provide a higher quality of service rather than the inverse. Because at the end of the day, the clients that make you the most money are the ones that are going to stay on the longest. I'm not here to churn a client every 2, 3, 4 months. For us, the average client stays on for anywhere between 14 to 20 months. We only got that by having quality services and having the right people trained up to handle everything.
Oh, yeah, I can appreciate that because I dabbled in the digital marketing space for a little while. My wife, we had a company, we were competing with Yex. I'm sure you've heard of them. When they were getting started, they were about 50 million. And at the time, we were competing against them. We never lost against them because we were the first agency to actually go into verticals. So again, specializing. If you're an auto repair shop, not only did we list you in all the directories, but we also listed you in all the automotive directories. And if you were a health doctor, when we got done with the customer, they were on page 1, page 2, page 3 of Google because we optimized all their stuff. But where I was going with that was the fact that those customers we kept, because we did other services for them, on an average 5 to 10 to 15 years. Just months ago, one customer in Chicago that said separated ways, and that's because he's semi-retiring. Him and I worked together. He was a real estate lawyer for 15 years.
Talk about client retention.
Yeah.
It's like I'm the clients with me until they're retiring, basically. That's amazing.
Yeah. My average probably has been about 10 of them that I kept for 10 years. I started around 2015, and some of them beginning of this year, they've gotten to where I wasn't handling it anymore. And when I did, I went into other areas, but I still took care of them because they were all set up and it was easy work. And we had a relationship. And so there was a trust between us, and there'd be something would come up. 2:00 in the morning, I get an email, and first thing in the morning, I'd get it taken care of. Sometimes it's a 10-minute fix. I wouldn't bill them. I'd just say, we've been friends for years. Most of them have turned into some friendships.
That's amazing. I've had that happen on my end where certain clients would either pop into Nashville, or if I'm in their area, we grab coffee and shoot the shit. We're best buds. And those are the kinds of relationships that I look for in clients, because to me, in the business world, it's more than transactional. For me, at least, I like to build friendships because, okay, cool. Like this may be the main project that you're working on right now, but if we're still friends 10, 15, 20 years down the road, like you're probably going to move on to multiple ventures. It's always interesting for me to learn not only from other people that I paid to learn from, but also other clients or even friends.
What's one of the first steps to starting to create super fans is you build those relationships, and those people become your sales force. That in turn collapses the sales cycle because now so-and-so says you need to talk to Nikita. Poof, that deal is pretty much 90% done. Unless you completely screw it up, it's a done deal. And because so-and-so said you need to deal with that, and my fastest sale back in the day when I was selling manufacturing software, and I share the story a lot, was 30 minutes. And most of the time was filling out the paperwork of what they wanted to order, because the call to me was, Jack says I need to buy this. How much? How fast can you get it here? And that was it. That was the deal. So I spent more time configuring what computer, what the blah, blah, blah. Back then, I used their fax machine to send the order to headquarters. And that was the end of it. Once you build those kind of relationships, you can't buy that kind of PR.
Exactly. And that really just comes down from your personal like credit, if you want to call it that. Oh, I actually no, reputation. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
It's your personal reputation, and like what kind of values that you uphold are the things that help you 10, 20, 30 years down the road. If you're known as a sleazebag, then no one's going to refer clients over to you. But if you're actually a good service provider that's honest, that isn't always nickel and diming them, like you said, if it's a 10-minute fix, okay, who cares? I'll just get it done. No need to bill them.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. If it's something small, I don't see the point in charging you $50 or $100 just to get it done. Like, we're friends. I get it. Like, it's business.
And the other part of that is that those relationships open doors for other opportunities in ways that you could never imagine. Because as you said, so-and-so can move to some other organization and they're going to take a look at the services that they've got. Now, you know what? I know somebody that can help us with this thing, and boom, they go right to you. The other thing in building those relationships is when I was spending time with some of the guys, I remember one of the guys was going through divorce and he was the IT guy. Guess who's at lunch with him and drinking the beer, listening to all his stuff? Because that's when you need to be a friend. I was going there in business. I could tell he was not in the right frame of mind. And so I said, Bob, let's go grab some lunch. I'm buying and talk to me. What's going on? And that relationship, I'm still friends with this guy 40 years later.
Yeah, it's something as simple as that of, hey, like I care about you as a person. We can just shoot the shit. Like it doesn't have to be transactional all the time. That's the unfortunate part. I think as time went on, I've been doing this for 8 years since 2017. And I think post-COVID, everything has gotten really transactional. I don't know if you've noticed that. So it's a lot harder to build that connection without them expecting you to charge them or without some sort of reciprocation. Like sometimes like I just want to be a nice person and either take you out to lunch or do this, or I don't know. That's just my experience.
I landed with this one company in 22. I landed a really huge account for this company, basically close to $1 million deal. And over the course of 23, we were providing the service. And once a month, I would meet with the director of the whole agency. We would spend 5 minutes talking about business. And because she knew that if there was an issue, and life happens, there's things that went wrong and stuff like that. But they knew that if they called me, I was on top of it. I got it taken care of. They were updated on what was happening. So there was no guessing and wondering, because the worst thing that can happen is not respond to something. And more importantly, not keep people informed, because our human mind will go negative really fast. Just think about dating. When you call somebody and you don't hear back, your mind goes right away in the wrong direction. You start manifesting crazy ideas and none of it's correct. So with this person, we handled the business. And then for 10, 15 minutes, we were talking about what'd you do last month? What are you guys' plans? Oh, you're going to go to visit this country for a vacation? Yeah, I've been there or I've not been there, and you should try this place if I'd been there. It was all about just talking, building that friendship. But whenever I said I needed a referral, or basically not a referral, a reference, I would say, oh, call so-and-so. And most of the time they would just know who it was because it was a big organization, a big name. So they would even call because of who it was.
Yeah, I've had that experience a ton where the quality and me operating the way I am, I've been able to use certain clients that I've turned into like super fans where I can just reference back to them because of the quality of work that we've done and the hand holding along the service time. So if they needed anything, it's like we're immediately on it. Our communication time is very quick compared to traditional agency times. We can get back to someone within the first like 2 to 3 hours, given it's a work day. Saturday and Sundays, if you're going to catch us at 1 a.m. on a Sunday, like we're not going to answer. But like during business hours, we're quick to respond. And that has caused some brands to say, wow, this is the best agency experience I've ever had. I've been burned 4 or 5 times, but like not, they're almost like an evangelist or like an advocate for us. And they'd be like, give us like any review platform. Like we'll leave an awesome review, or give this phone number to like any potential customers that are like on the fence. We'd make sure to like, put in a good word for you. And they have, and it's helped me close a lot of deals because of that.
Sure. Yeah. Nikita, share a story of how you guys stepped into a company that was struggling with their retention and engagement with their customer base. And what did you guys do and what was the outcome?
Yeah, I think one of the bigger ones has been Mossy Oak. I don't know if you know who they are, but they're a big wilderness camouflage company. So like anytime you see like real tree or like the realistic tree type camouflage, they're the ones that pioneered that. They came on board a few years back and we still worked with them like on and off here and there. But they came on board and they're like, hey, our revenue's down. We think we could be doing better. And we analyzed their entire infrastructure on the automation side, which is the part of the business where anyone that interacts with the website or during the checkout process, you want to keep following up with them on the email side. So that whole entire infrastructure wasn't set up correctly and it was outdated. So we went ahead and restructured everything. I think we created about 40 to 50 different emails to like all the different automations that we were creating. And that took about 2 to 3 months for us to do. And afterwards, they've seen probably the highest, like we doubled their revenue that was coming in from email. And for them being like an 8-figure business, they were making more money through email than some businesses made in their year. It was very satisfying and very validating that even on bigger organizations like them and like legacy organizations, like the strategies apply from like small to large businesses. They're one of the companies that are like now an advocate for us.
What was the biggest thing that you guys discovered when you were working with them they had messed up or were not really paying attention to? Maybe a better way of wording it.
I think the thing that they focused on the most was keeping things very brand focused rather than conversion focused. So there's two different ways that you can go about emailing. Maybe there's more than two, but the way that I like to look at it is like you can either do it brand focused where like everything is branded and everything's brand colored. But when you make it conversion focused, you focus on the little things that drive more sales. And that's the big gap that we had to cross essentially. Theirs was brand focused, and we're like, okay, let's take a conversion focused approach because clearly brand is not working. You guys have had this up for a few years and you've gotten the same results every time. So let's focus on conversion. Let's move some buttons up. Let's move some headlines up. Let's shorten these sections. Let's extend these sections. Let's move more trust building into these emails like reviews and testimonials and user generated content, and increased their conversion rate significantly. Drop their customer acquisition cost on the Facebook and Meta side. And overall, the business started to perform way better because of little tweaks like that. Now, granted, this was done on every single one of those 40 emails. So it wasn't just like this tiny little tweak on one email. It had to be done pretty much company wide when it came to email.
Sure. That's one of my quotes is the little things are really the big things. You made some little tweaks and just repositioning, repackaging, but it was a big thing because of the results that it got.
Yeah, you do those little things enough times to where it becomes the biggest thing that helped drive the revenue.
Yep, all the time. It's the same thing with people. It's telling somebody, hey, I appreciate you is a little thing, but to that individual, that's a big thing.
Yeah, and you say that enough times and now you're their friend.
So how do you guys craft some of the messaging? Yeah, let's go into that because that's something that I think a lot of people struggle with is people trying to sell versus I think having a conversation and solving a challenge.
I think a lot of it comes down to not having the right understanding of what their customer wants. For example, a lot of brands are trying to sell that these are the benefits, these are the features, this is exactly how our product works. But the thing that they lack the most is not having a proper objection handling process. And I'm not saying this in a sales term, but more valid concerns that customers have around the product. I know the benefits. Let's say like, I know that your phone is waterproof. The objection could be like, does it work or will it work in 2 years? So like covering certain objections and covering certain concerns that a customer might have is the best way that we've seen that helps conversion rate. That's probably like the biggest tweak that we make on the messaging side is making sure that we cover more objections and concerns rather than just sell, here's the benefits, here's the features.
Yeah, so what you're doing is your combination emotional decision making and logic decision making as well, from what I'm gathering, because people buy emotionally, they justify logically, and you're giving them some of that logic to help justify the emotional decision.
Exactly. I'm a very logical person. So for me, everything has to make sense logically in order for me to move forward emotionally. Obviously, different people operate differently, but when you're working on the copy side and the design side, the emotions are already there. If they're already asking like objection-based questions, they're for the most part bought in, but they just need those questions answered. If you answer them correctly, you're unlocking like a keypad lock where you have the right number and it just clicks and it unlocks and boom, you got a sale.
Absolutely, because all the buy signs are theirs, and so there's no more mental objection. They go ahead and say, okay, yeah, let's do this. And that's usually how it happens. The decisions are made pretty quickly. I've looked at stuff and I've gotten in, read things or got emails, and it's either it hits me well or it's a delete. And if I resonate with it, and that's the key word I was looking for, if I can resonate with the message, 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's just having all the right information. If I have all the information, I can make a decision right here, right now, and pay you up front. But then again, not everyone operates like me. So you have to have different approaches to the messaging, to the sales process.
And do you guys do any research on the customer types and then tweak the message for their audience?
Absolutely. That's the first step. Once a client is onboarded, They go through an extensive onboarding form where they fill out the customer demographic, their competitors, what their customer is like, whether it's age, gender, what kind of upbringing they had. Maybe not upbringing, but like, do they have a high school degree? Are they a college graduate? Are they higher education? That sort of thing. That helps us understand the customer a lot and what kind of language the customer is going to resonate with the most. Obviously, a high school graduate is going to resonate to a different language than, let's say, someone that went through a PhD program. So in those scenarios, that's where we get a really good understanding for the customer that we're going to be writing for. Then we take it a step further. We analyze the competition. We analyze what the competition is doing. And we also look at the reviews for both the competition and the brand that we're managing, because the reviews are going to tell you all. If they have a low star or if they have a 1-star review, we're going to see what are the biggest complaints that people are having about the product so we can address them within the emails. If we're having 5-star reviews, okay, cool. What are the sentiments that we need to boost? Well, this is a great unboxing experience. Perfect. If they had a good unboxing experience, then, okay, we know that we don't need to change that. That can stay the same. But let's say like the packaging leaked, for example, like if you're ordering soap or something, then it's, okay, we need to improve on the packaging and we need to not only tell that to the business, but also start to address that in communication. So if your packaging leaked, it probably was mishandled by the postal service or something. So that way we can get ahead of it in the future. I don't know if these examples or analogies are the best. I'm blanking on some of these.
Yeah, what you're really talking about is developing customer personas, but you're targeting the persona based upon the audience that you're targeting. So your messaging is going to be different to the person that's got a high school education, and that's where it ended, versus, like you said, someone's got a PhD. So the verbology is going to be different. The messaging is going to be different. And then today, the new reviews is really the new word of mouth. We pull up our smartphone and take a look and says, okay, that's got a bunch of good reviews, or no, not so much. And we pass on that one and we go to the one that's got all the most reviews. So you're analyzing those reviews, is giving you feedback and data as to what the perception is of the end user that's getting the product. You can also leverage that from a marketing perspective, because here's all these people that are saying wonderful things. And now you've got third-party social proof that's helping you push the message forward when you're doing your email marketing.
The way I like to see reviews is almost like a vote. It's a vote of confidence from other people to vote with their money. So if you have 100 reviews, that means 100 people voted with their wallet that agree that the product is great and they had a great experience. Whereas if you have 10 bad reviews, that means like those people regretted voting with their wallet. So then it's, okay, do I trust the 100 or the 10? And then you obviously average it up in the soft. Like Google does it automatically for you to give you like the 3.5 star or like the 4.1 star. So that's how I like to think of reviews.
I like that. That's a good way of putting it. They're voting with their wallets at the end of the day, and it makes sense. People can get that. The reality is they spent the cash and it's either a thumbs up or it's a thumbs down. There's no sideways thumbs.
Sometimes it would be good to have sideways thumbs, but we're not in a perfect world.
Correct. As we get close to the end here, Nikita, how can people find you?
Yeah, the best way to contact me is just to go through our website, aspectagency.com, ASPEKT agency.com. If you want to get a free audit on your email system, just fill out the form. It's in the header. And if you want to see weekly YouTube videos on how to get better at email marketing, just look up my name, Nikita Vakhrushev, and you'll find my channel and hopefully learn something new. And if you want to check me out on LinkedIn, that's just my name as well. And I put out posts pretty much daily on things that I learned within the industry.
Great conversation, great insights for our listeners. You and I could talk on this stuff for hours, I believe, and really appreciate your time on being on the show. And we definitely would love to have you on the show down the road again.
Yeah, it was a fun one, Freddie. Thanks again.
All right. Thanks for your time. And thank you to our listeners for listening to the show. What a great conversation. We've been leaning into the P and the Superfan framework, Propel, attract ready-to-buy clients. That means crafting messaging that cuts through the noise and brings in the right customers fast. Nikita showed us that real growth comes not from pretty branding, but from conversation-first communication. Emails and SMS that address objections, showcase social proof, and move the call to action up front. He reminds us that when your message is aligned with your audience, reviews become proof, automations drive sales, and revenue follows. So here's your challenge. This week, choose one automation, maybe your follow-up flow, post-purchase or abandonment cart, and rewrite the first email to highlight a clear promise, bust open objection, and place your CTA above the fold. When you do, you'll see higher engagement, faster decisions, and more ready-to-buy clients without spending more on ads. And remember, one action, one stakeholder, one superfan closer. Until next time, keep building your business superfans. Thank you for listening, and know this: when you do, freedom follows. Imagine finishing this year strong and positioning your business for explosive growth in 2026, regardless of what the economy does. Picture a business that grows without you having to be there every day, because your team moves in perfect sync like a championship rowing crew. Inside the Superfans Growth Hub, you'll discover how to turn everyday stakeholders into enthusiastic advocates, what I call business superfans, who fuel your growth through reviews, referrals, retention, and revenue. That's the power of the Superfans framework and the R4 reactor working together. And here's the best part. You can start free with our Spark Starters membership, giving you access to practical tools and resources to begin building superfans today. Join us now at superfansgrowthhub.com. Once again, that's superfansgrowthhub.com. And remember, one action, one stakeholder, one superfan closer. I'll see you on the inside.
We hope you took away some useful knowledge from today's episode of the Business Superfans podcast. The path to success relies on taking action. So go over to businesssuperfans.com and get your hands on the book if you haven't already. Join the Accelerator community and take that first step in generating a team of passionate supporters for your business. Join us on the next episode as we continue guiding you on your journey to achieve flourishing success in business.